We're out in the garden here today, and I'm going to show you how to prune forced branches for a bouquet for your house in the middle of March. And one of the things you want to look for is, first of all, at your overall bush that you're going to prune on. The one I have here for you today is a fabulous Forsythia, one of the best bushes to prune on for forced branches that we have at the Botanic Garden. My first branch that I'm not really thrilled with being on the bush is this one. And the reason is this is the back side of the bush where you always want to choose your branches from. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to come in and prune pretty low and pretty deep in here. Forsythia really likes to be cut back, and it bounces back quite nicely. And the branches that I just took out will come up nice and close on this one. And what you can see is the big healthy buds like these are all blooms in here, packed down nice and tight in there. And that's what you're looking for when you prune. If you prune things off that have really immature or teeny tiny buds like this one, they're not going to force for you at all because they're too tight, they're too immature. And I leave behind good clean cuts all the time, and voila! I only need a couple branches, and I always bring with me a few rubber bands just to make life easier. Alright, so whenever I look at my big branch that I began with pruning out in the field, I take it inside and I look at the lowest branches first. We're not going to use the big, heavy, lowest canes, but I'm looking for the branches that have strong buds on them, and usually the lower branches do not, so I'm honestly just removing those, looking for the prettiest ones. So I am working up towards the top. Again, making nice angled cuts before you put them into the water. So now we're almost to the end of the branch there. This one's still got some good life on it. But this is the main power that we were looking for. This is going to give you a phenomenal bloom. Then my last thing that I do is on these big branches, I like to do a little measuring to see what my final height is going to be in the container and make sure I'm satisfied with it. So that's what I just did. I was just measuring against the table, and then we stick it in. Now me personally, I always like the massive amounts of color in my vases, so I'm going to continue to stick in branches of Forsythia. Put this in a nice sunny window if you have one, otherwise just don't put them on top of heaters. They really don't like that much forced air on top of them. They love sunny windows. This in about 7 to 10 days is going to be a massively beautiful explosion of color and flowers just like this one is here. And this one's just about 10 days old. Now this is a beautiful malice tree or crabapple tree, and when you prune for forcing of malice trees, you want to make sure you get massive amounts of little teeny buds like this, and when you look at the buds, make sure they're kind of wrinkly, because the wrinkly or the compressed tissue is where actually buds come from, and that's what you're looking for when you prune on the malice for forcing branches. You want those wrinkly old buds like these all around. So basically I'm going to come in here, and these guys are kind of hair-raising in the sense that they really stick to things and stick together. So I usually choose a little bit shorter or smaller branches. And this is the malice that I'm going to start with. And I can show you up close and personal about what I was talking about wrinkly buds on malice trees. So this is one of the branches we took off. And when you're doing arranging, you want a stem or something to work with. So on this first little branch that I cut off, you can see these old past berries on them. That helps to tell when the branches are suitable for forcing. And then what you're really looking for are these little branches right here with a nice strong bud growing on it, but the really wrinkly looking wood. That's where you're going to definitely have flowers come out of for sure. Cutting the end of your stems, just make sure you cut them at a nice strong angle. When you're doing cut flowers or cut stems, you want a nice strong angle so the plant can absorb a lot more water easily. And then when I start putting them in the vase, I don't necessarily start putting them in straight up and down. These are cut branches, so they're half cut for their architectural view or their architecture of the branch itself. And so I kind of usually do a little crossing. So basically, once you've got all your branches in your vase, you want to stick it in the sunniest window that you have, and make sure you change the water frequently, about every 3 to 4 days, and watch them bloom. This will green up, bloom out, and kind of start resembling this, and with the color changes. And it's a really great way to see spring coming in a little bit earlier than you thought. And this is a Cirsus canadensis, otherwise known as a redbud tree, and it's a great tree to use as a forced branch. It's also one of the harder ones to to decide which branch to choose because the buds are usually so hidden this time of year. But if we come in close, I can show you where the bloom buds are. They're just at the tips of my fingers. They look kind of like black pepper specks. But this is what you're looking for when you want to prune a branch for forced branching on red buds. Again, back of the bush usually is best. Good pruning practices always used. So for our last branches we have our beautiful red buds, or Cirsus canadensis. And on these guys, what I'm going to do is show you line them kind of. So on this bigger branch, I'm going to measure it against my container. I want it a little bit shorter. Definitely angle cut it, and slicing them open like this also helps to aid in the water absorption. Just be careful with your fingers. And then stick them. And then hopefully, within 10 days in a bright sunny window, the red buds will force out those fabulous magenta blooms like they always do.